allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor and respect this flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
All right, I've got Father Tung from St. Peter's to lead us in a prayer. Thanks, sir.
Morning. Let us pray in the name of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, be with us today at our gathering, at our meeting. Help us to rejoice with the rest of the world that is celebrating the second day of Easter, in the octave of Easter. Help us this day to rejoice with those who rejoice. Help us to be good servants of your people and of you, Lord. Help us to be patient, to be instructive, and to be receptive to learning and to hear one another, and help us to do your will. And with your people, may our will and your people's will conform with that of yours as we do what is best for the common good. Be with all our leaders elected and appointed at all levels of government. Be with those, especially those who police our cities and our states and in the federal government. Be with the men and women in uniform. Be with us, Lord, and help us to rejoice this day and always. We pray to Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
You have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
Father. And I'd like to remind everybody, St. Peter's has a fundraiser first Saturday of every month. All right. Really great food. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to section 4, citizens to be heard. Do we
Roll
have?
call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney.
Here.
Commissioner Casterline.
Here.
Commissioner Russo. Here. Commissioner Dupnick.
Here.
Judge Garza.
Here, we've got a quorum. At this point, are there any citizens to be heard? Nope. All right, we'll move on. No presentations, and move on to the consent agenda.
I move that we accept the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
We got a motion, we got a second, and I do want to acknowledge a donation of $1,360 from Kuranda Pet Beds from Animal Rescue Aid going to the Aransas County Animal Care. We also want to acknowledge a $40 donation for supplies from Chris and Bridget Rue for Aransas County Animal Care. We've got a donation of $10 from James Simpson for supplies for Aransas County Animal Care. Can't talk to this morning. I want to acknowledge a $40 donation from Patty Beathy for Aransas County Animal Care, their spray and neuter program, and a donation of $75 from John Debler for the spray and neuter program for Aransas County Animal Care. Any discussion? All right, let's vote.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 9.
I move to approve proclamation P 042023, a proclamation recognizing April 2023 as Beach Safety and Rip Current Awareness Month in Aransas County.
I'll second that.
Got a motion, we got a second.
Good
Tracy.
morning, Judge Commissioners. This
Morning.
is proclamation P 04-2023, recognizing April 2023 as Beach Safety and Rip Current Awareness Month in Aransas County. Whereas the 87th Texas Legislature adopted House Concurrent Resolution 46, which was signed by the Texas Governor on June 14th, 2021, designating the month of April as Beach Safety and Rip Current Awareness Month in the state of Texas. And whereas countless visitors and local residents visit Texas beaches each year to enjoy the sunshine and the water. And whereas it is important that beachgoers understand that there are possible hazards when swimming, wading, or otherwise enjoying the ocean water. And whereas rip currents are powerful narrow channels of fast moving water that flow outward to sea with an average speed of 1 to 2 feet per second and sometimes increase up to 8 feet per second. And whereas many swimmers are caught off guard by rip currents and without proper education, intuitively begin swimming toward the beach, which puts them at great risk of exhaustion, which can lead to drowning. And whereas it is critically important that the beach goers be taught the signs to watch for that may indicate the presence of a rip current, which include a break in wave pattern, a visible channel of choppy churning water, a line of foam or debris moving out to sea, and a difference in water color. Whereas if a swimmer is caught in a rip current, he or she should remain calm and try to conserve energy and then swim parallel to the current until the rip current weakens and the swimmer can turn toward the beach. And whereas if a swimmer is unable to swim parallel to the rip current long enough for it to weaken, he or she should tread water or float and signal for help. And whereas the beachgoers should familiarize themselves with the flag warning system in place at many beaches, used to signal when there are hazardous conditions such as strong currents, high bacteria levels, and jellyfish or other marine life. And whereas recognizing potential danger and being prepared for hazards at the beach can save lives. Now therefore let it be known on this day, the 10th of April, 2023, the Aransas County Commissioners Court duly convened and acting in its capacity as a governing body of Aransas County, hereby proclaims the month of April 2023 as Beach Safety and Rip Current Awareness Month in Aransas County. The Aransas County Commissioners Court urges all beachgoers to take time to learn about risk, including rip currents, and to learn about the flag warning systems to ensure they have a safe, healthy, and enjoyable visit to the beach.
Any discussion? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 10.
Move to approve proclamation P 05-2023, a proclamation recognizing April 13th, 2023 as Willard Cox Day in Aransas County.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Proclamation P 05-2023, recognizing April 13th as Willard Cox Day in Aransas County. Whereas communities often have special citizens that answer the call anytime people are in need. And whereas Willard Cox was one of these special citizens and shared his energy, talent, and time with Aransas County and the communities in Aransas County for more than 50 years as a lifetime member of the Rockport Volunteer Fire Department. And whereas Willard Cox was an inspiration and mentor to many young men and women who continue and will continue to serve the community for years to come. And whereas one of the most important aspects of emergency response is ensuring consistent communication among responders. And whereas among many other contributions he made, Willard Cox worked closely with the governmental entities and emergency response agencies in Aransas County to select, purchase, maintain critical communication systems. And whereas Willard Cox was the resident Rockport Volunteer Fire Department historian and always used his knowledge and experience to help guide Rockport Volunteer Fire Department. And whereas anyone who knew Willard Cox would certainly remember him fondly and recall his steadfast belief in his opinions and inherent ability to be able to lead and persuade others. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners Court of Aransas County, do proclaim this 10th day of April 2023, recognizing April 13th as Willard Cox Day. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any discussion? Comments? All right, let's vote.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Yeah.
I would like to say, I didn't know the gentleman, but I know that John Strothman, our Community Development Director, relied heavily on him for his expertise in getting the communication tower set up. And Emily, Aaron, and many others really appreciate his contributions to this community.
Okay. And then y'all do know, and I'll say it in court, that we are going to dedicate our new tower and name it the Willard Cox Memorial Tower. Willard Cox Emergency Radio Tower. So that's a really big honor. All right, I appreciate. We'll move on to item number 11.
I move to approve joint proclamation B 6-2023. A joint proclamation with the town of Fulton recognizing the week of April 9th through 15th as the week of young children, sponsored by the National Association for the Education of Young Children.
I'll second that.
This is joint proclamation JP 06-2023. Whereas the Children's Coalition of Aransas County and local early childhood educators, in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children, are celebrating the Week of Young Children, April 9th through 15th. And whereas these organizations are working to improve early learning opportunities that can provide a foundation of learning for children in the city of Rockport, Aransas County, and the town of Fulton, Texas. Whereas teachers and others who make a difference in the lives of young children in the city of Rockport, Aransas County, and the town of Fulton deserve thanks and recognition. And whereas public policies that support early learning for all children are crucial to young children's future. And now therefore, we, Tim J. Rowe, Mayor of the city of Rockport, Ray A. Garza, Aransas County Judge, and Kelly Cole, Mayor of the town of Fulton, do hereby proclaim April 9th through 15th as Week of the Young Children in the city of Rockport, Aransas County, and the town of Fulton, and encourage all citizens to work to make a good investment in early childhood in Aransas County.
Any discussion? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnik,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 12.
Move to approve order 006-2023 in order of the Commissioners Court of Aransas County, Texas, entitled actually, I think we need to move the table in.
Yeah,
Or to, I move to not approve it and the burn ban and to lift the current burn ban as of today.
I'll second that.
all right, we got a motion, we got a second to lift the burn ban and not extend it. All right. Any discussion?
Well, our fire marshal is here. Do you want to weigh in on this? And I think after all the rain we had for the last several days, this is a good idea, but I'd like to hear from you, please.
Right, yes, we had pretty significant rain. We did have a lot of calls yesterday to see if we could start burning, since we did have some rain. I agree with the, decision, and if anything changes, I will give my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's in our score that we judge where to set one. It's way below the.
Okay.
Department. We have a burn ban.
All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnik,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Yes. Commissioner Cheney, I believe, second. Item number 13.
I move to approve resolution R 08-2023, a resolution of Aransas County Commissioners Court expressing support for Texas State Senate Bill 1700, also known as Healthcare Expanded and Access Locally for Texans Act or Heal Texans Act.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second? Any discussion? Someone here to read this?
Tell us a little bit about it.
I requested this to be on the agenda, and I appreciate Judge Garza for allowing it to be. I will, for full disclosure, I'll say that my husband is a nurse practitioner, and I attended a conference with him about a week ago, and this was something that was being discussed very thoroughly. This really doesn't impact my life or my husband's practice because he works for a clinic and he does not have to pay this delegation agreement. So I'm totally not impacted by this decision, but I will say, and I included remarks in the backup, that Texas is in the minority of the United States in allowing nurse practitioners to practice on their own. They still have to sign a delegation agreement with a physician. The physician does not oversee them while they are seeing patients. They don't make advice on any of the care that they are recommending for their patients. They just review the charts after the fact. And some physicians charge anywhere from $2,000 up to maybe $50,000 a year for this agreement that they sign to just review cases in that have already been taken care of and the patients have been treated and released. The reason that there is a push for this is that during COVID, because there was such a shortage of healthcare providers, Governor Abbott waived this agreement request or requirement. But after COVID, he put it back into effect. And there is tremendous support among Democrats, independents, and Republicans. 85% of Democrats, 72% of independents, 80% of Republicans who support this policy of having the contracting agreement removed. Nurse practitioners have to have a bachelor's degree. They have to have a nurse's degree, a master's degree in nursing. They also have to do clinical hours. They have to have professional CEUs, continuing education units, every single year to renew their licensure. They do not try to practice outside of their specialty. So you'll have family practice nurse practitioners, you'll have pediatric, you'll have geriatric, you have nurse anesthetists, which are nurse practitioners. But this is just something that is a carryover, perhaps from people who have vested interest in having the doctors get paid a large fee to do very little. And right now, nurse practitioners make up a large part of the family care providers in both rural settings and in mental health. And the feeling is that, and the data support this, that if this requirement was removed, rural areas such as ours would be able to attract more practitioners here. I know from being in the human resource field and from now just talking with neighbors and constituents, it is very hard to find a family care practitioner in Rockport or Aransas County. It's hard to find one in Corpus Christi. People might be on TRICARE, they might be on Medicare, or even if they have families and they have some kind of health insurance through an employer, there are a lot of doctors who will not accept new patients. This would certainly open up our community to more practitioners being here. That's why I ask your support for this. It is right now a bill that's been supported and presented by Democrats and Republicans, and it is waiting on Senator Colcourse to put it on the committee calendar. This, I hope, would get it moved along.
I would certainly support that. And whenever I was on the school board and since I've been on the commissioner's court, we've dealt with this over and over and over again about especially indigent folks that just simply can't afford to go to the doctor. I mean, just can't. And I agree with Commissioner Russo that there is a huge gap in the ability of nurse practitioners to really do what they're trained to do. And, you know, they're not trained to do surgery. They're not trained to do a lot of the other things, but as a GP, as a general practitioner, they certainly meet all of that requirement. I realize that they're not to the level of a doctor in the educational requirements, but I've been to several nurse practitioners, both with myself and my family, and they've always done very well. And they're easy to get into and easy to talk to. So I'd certainly support that.
All right. Any further comments? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
I support it, but I'll abstain.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
One. abstaining. Item number 14.
I move to approve resolution R 9/2023. A resolution of the Aransas County Commissioners Court approving entering into an interlocal corporation agreement among various law enforcement agencies to work collaboratively to carry out the law enforcement duties and operations through Operation Lone Star, authorizing the county judge to execute all necessary documents, providing severability, certifying compliance with Open Meetings Act, and providing for effective date.
I second that.
Got a motion,
Sure.
second?
Sure. Want to give us a little rundown?
And I have a couple of questions, Sheriff Mills. In this document about the Lone Star Grant Program, under eligible organizations, it's on page 2. Then number 3, eligible applicants must be a county or municipality located in a county that has issued a disaster declaration relating to border security. Have we done that?
Governor's office has done that through Operation Lone Star. It's used to have Border Star in the state of Texas, which started as a federal deal, became a state. We participate in Stone Garden, funded by the federal government. This is a new initiative the governor started several months ago through Lone Star and a coalition of sheriffs from as far south as San Pat and Clayburgh County, moving up almost on the line north towards San Antonio, Wilson County. They have formed a coalition and they move forces around. They'll set up designated locations and they'll have more voluntary, depending on your scheduling. They may have 7, they may have 12 officers show up from surrounding counties that participate in this and multiply their forces. They've had very good success in it. It's one of the, in fact, I think the Abbott's office said it was the first time in the state that sheriffs had banded together and moved resources around in a collective effort to do the same thing. And they would come here at some time in the future if we are allowed to participate in it. We would send forces to, they do it, they'll target 1 week a month to where it's not going to tax anybody's sources, and usually maybe 2 days out of that week, they will be in a designated location. And that way you can saturate an area, and as the smuggling movement moves around, you've got people to cover it.
No, I think it's a great idea. I read the documentation. I just wondered if we needed to issue a disaster declaration.
I didn't know, not individually. No, it's a collective deal statewide.
Right? Okay. And then the other is under the key dates on final date to submit and certify an application. It was August 31st of last year. Did we do that? Or
That's for an application for Operation Lone Star funding from the state. That window will open every year in that
Okay.
time frame, and come August, we would submit, actually in July, probably start submitting a packet for consideration of some funding.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. Any further questions? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 15.
I move to approve Rockport Center for the Arts report for the first quarter of 2023.
Got a motion, got a second? Mr. Luis Budon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great to be here this morning. I'm going to swiftly through some of these slides so that we can get to the meat of the presentation, which has the data. These are some of the exhibits that we've had this quarter. Oops, sorry. So this was happening in January. It was our members' exhibitions. And then in the month of February, all things go to clay in Rockport and all the galleries. And so we have this contemporary clay show by a visiting artist from Arkansas. And then in February, of course, through April, we've had Birds in Art. This exhibition has had an incredible run, and it goes all the way up until April 23rd of 2023. So it's a traveling show from the Lee Yawkey Woodson Art Museum. It's a very prestigious show, the best of avian art. If you have not had a chance to see it, I invite you to come and take a look. It was sponsored by the Reserve at St. Charles Bay. And then in March and April, we have the visual arts program Rising Eyes of Texas show in one of the other galleries. Keep in mind that we now have 5 exhibition spaces. We used to have 2 exhibition spaces. So we have a lot more for our visitors to see. This is the only college juried show in the state of Texas. It's in its 17th year and it's become very prestigious. And there's students from all universities from all across the state. Then we've inviting some artists from across the state of Texas and the country to come and teach workshops. We've spent $6,000 in hot funds to advertise these in international publications. You see some of the publications there and some of the ads that are running. The motto is Paint in the Texas Coast in Rockport, Texas. And you see some of the things that we are promoting in the various prestigious publications. In the hopes to do, the reason why we're doing that is to bring, participants from different parts of the country to see us. And you could see that we had, I'm just going to show you 2 examples in Caustic with Lynn Belisle, and you could see where the students came from. And we also always ask questions, are you staying in an area lodging facility? And you can see that 45% of the students said yes. Then we had a plein air workshop, a masterclass series. You could see in the maps where the students came from and also in the state of Texas. And then, of course, we asked the question, are you staying in an area lodging facility? And 73% of those students said yes. So we feel our investment in advertising in these publications is very worthwhile because we're bringing new people to here that want to learn visual arts in our community. Some new programs which are being fostered through Aransas County hot funds. You allocated $8,000 in hot funds last year for us to promote these concerts. So we had 105 people come to the Sarah Hickman concert at the Rock. It's also sponsored by Texas Commission on the Arts. And then we had a John Smith concert in February. Another 105 people came to that concert. Special events, we partner every year with Aransas County Council on Aging to help them raise funds for the Meals on Wheels program. This has been a collaboration that we have strengthened with Mary Ellen Neese in the last 8 years. So they had 942 visitors at the conference center and 114 heads and beds. I will get to how we know that number. These are not fluffy numbers I'm giving you. These are for certain numbers from interviewing our participants. And here you have some of the raw data. You could see that 50% of visitors, we had about 700 people come on Saturday, the 4th of February, and 245 people come on the 5th of February. And about 50% of those guests came from areas beyond 75 miles from our region. You could also see on this slide that San Antonio was the top major metro market with 3.3 and 2.9 respectively on both of those days % visitors from that region. And here you see where do people really come from for the Clay Expo. So you see the map of the country, you see the map of the state of Texas. It's a very, very nice graphic that really paints a great picture. 114 overnight stays in area lodging facilities. And when we asked the question, are you staying in an area facility? 17% of the people that walked in and out of those doors said yes. Then we hosted the art fair, March 11th and 12th. It was a 3-day event. We had 222 people come to a preview event and 428 people come for the weekend event on Saturday and Sunday. That was the beginning of spring break. And here in this slide, you can see the raw data with how we arrived at the calculations that we're going to provide you in a few seconds. So altogether, we have 650 visitors and 408 generated heads and beds. You could see that about 50% tourism on the weekend activity on March 11th and 12th, which is very healthy. The top markets were Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. And Metro oscillated between 14% and 20%. And why we keep track of that rubric is because Major Metro is where we spend the majority of our hot funds to promote the activities. This is an exciting map. You can see where people came from, pretty much all over the United States, all over the state of Texas, even in the Panhandle. And when we asked people if you stayed in an area lodging facility, 21% of people said yes. Okay, we've started renting the conference center. And here is a report on that. So we had a total of 6 rentals, and you could see the number of people that visited or were taking part in that activity and the number of heads and beds highlighted in yellow. We did have a Boy Scout fundraiser last week, and so I don't have conclusive data for that because it hasn't been provided to me, but I will provide it in the next quarter. And for the Aransas County EDC meeting, which was held there in January, this is where participants came from. And this is where participants came from for a PNC Bank dinner that was hosted in late January. This is where participants came from the Texas Historical Society that held its board meeting over the course of 2 days in Rockport. And then we had a book signing, which was primarily a local event for the Coastal Bend by author Diana Garcia. And then also at the Rock, we had the International Crane Foundation, who rented the facility for 2 days. And this is where participants came from, total of 52 visitors, all stayed at the Fairfield Inn for a total of 3 to 4 nights each. This is our marketing plan. We're using Chris, Channel 6, to do some geotech fencing and a variety of activities to help draw people to the conference center so that it can be rented. I'm not going to go over too much of it, but this is some of the technology that we're utilizing. We're serving people with ads through their phones when they penetrate the geo fenced areas. We're also doing a Google display network and search engine marketing. And our digital campaign is $4,000. We had concentrated on 2 markets, the Austin market, because that's where a lot of business meetings happen. And the objective of this campaign with Chris is to draw people to this area from those markets, and the San Antonio market for geo-targeting as well. We have made revisions to this campaign, which I'll show you in a minute. We were spending $3,000 in the Austin market, $1,000 in the San Antonio market. And now these are some of the ads that we are serving people with some very healthy click-through rates. And now we've divided the budget into $2,000 for San Antonio in its demographic market area, and then $2,000 also in Austin and San Antonio.
Luis?
Yes, sir.
You made a comment, those are healthy click-through rates. And I agree, but how do you determine that?
It's determined just, it's data that we obtained from Channel 6. And this slide here tells you that 3.75 click-through rate is very healthy. The average is about 1.9.
May I say something? Because I had noted this
Mhm.
on my review of the report, and I will say this is a tremendous report, and I really like the maps that you're showing from the different counties in Texas and then from the other states and from other countries. And I also like where you're giving us the heads and beds. But on that, where you talked about well above the 2% national average, I did ask when we received the quarterly report a month or so ago, because the chamber was reporting a 0.4% click-through rate, which seems small to me. And I queried them. And then I also have talked to some more computer savvy people who have indicated, like you said, the 2% is what you really look for. So when I saw that you had 3.75, I was very, very impressed. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the campaign is working well. It merits the expenditure of these hot funds, and we're very happy with our relationship with Chris. Those are some of the ads, as I said earlier. And start planning now. The call to action button takes you straight to the booking page at the conference center. that'll generate a lead for Paulette. This is our team that we're working there at Chris. Also, e-commerce report, we're starting to track how is our website performing. And so you can see that we had a total of 663 transactions, total of $72,000 in sales in a variety of activities. The biggest one being classes and workshops at 300. This is our e-commerce map for the first quarter, Canada and lots of parts in the United States. Many transactions obviously happening in the state of Texas. Then also our social media and website visitation. So this is from our Facebook page, 77,000 page reach on our Facebook page. So 50.8 increase over the same period last year, which is significant. Really, you could see the graphic there, which tells you the whole story. And then also from our website, this is where people are visiting us from 28,000, almost 29,000 unique visits, the entire country, many parts of the world. And then, of course, many, many counties in the state of Texas. Okay. This is really the biggest number that I have to show you today, and that is the people visiting the Arts Center. Every single person that walks into the Arts Center gets asked for a zip code. Although it's not mandatory, we do ask everybody. We had 9,400 people visit the Arts Center in the first quarter of the year. It's a great number. Our top market was San Antonio, with very healthy results there. And you can see that from major metro, where we spend the majority of our advertising dollars, that we started to climb up to 20% from that area. And then 50% of the people visiting the Arts Center came from 75 miles or more. Why do we ask that question? Is because that is an indicator for they may be staying in a hotel, but we go a little bit further. And here's the first quarter visitation map, almost the entire country and different parts of the world. And of course, all over the United States, all over the state of Texas. This is a comparison. Looking at the last 3 years, first quarter visitation, 2021, 22, and 23, 23 being the gray bar graph. You can see how highly it has climbed from last year. So last year we had 2,000 visitors in the quarter, and this year we had over 9,000 visitors. It's exponential growth. It's just, and the only way to say this is the building is doing its job. And also very healthy tourism numbers. You know, in 21, it was about 40%. Last year was a little over 50%. And this year, again, a little over 50%. This is a slide that I showed you that I have corrected. In reality, the first number there, the one that says 950 attendance to special events, should be 1,592. I handed it to the commissioners and the judge. And Ms. Kimbrough this morning, and I will send the corrected slide to Ms. Kimbrough so it can be accurately entered into the record. 385 rental visitation at the conference center, Arts Center visitation 9,400 almost, with a quarterly impact of 11,360 guests, up 202% over last year's quarterly impact, which, as you see there, was almost 4,000 people. Again, the buildings are doing their job. Okay, last year in May, we worked with our arts advocacy group, Ann Graham and Chris Kiley, and they trained the staff on, you know, what are the real questions that you should be asking your guests. The first one is, what is your zip code? And that's where most of us, you know, stop that receive hot funds. And they said, you also need to ask the next two questions. Are you staying in an area lodging facility? And if so, how many nights? And so every single person that we come in contact with at the Arts Center gets asked these three questions, which is how I can tell you with certainty that, you know, when we say we have 15,000 overnight stays in area lodging facilities, that's from data that we actually collected, and it gets entered into a database and it gets populated. this is how we spent the generous budget that the county has offered us. And I'm sorry, I don't have this in front of me and I can't read that. Oh, here it is. So we spent about $500 in direct advertising and in exhibitions, mostly advertising for there as well, $5,300. In the performing arts, $821. So total spent this quarter is $6,654.30. We have received to date $13,833.30. Our total requests for this year from the county are about $40,000. This is, I just throw in this for good measure. I just want you to understand that this is our general expenses, our administrative expenses. None of these administrative expenses are paid using hot funds. We really take the hot funds and use it for advertising. I know the county doesn't ask us for this data, but the city does, and maybe the court would want to ask those of us that receive hot funds for this data, but we actually calculate all of the heads of vets. And we're very proud that we have an incredible statistician. It's almost become like a full-time job because there's so much data collection happening. And that is my report. I'll entertain any questions if there are any.
Good job.
Thank you. Great job.
And I would encourage anyone who has not been there to see Birds and Art or the new facilities to go. Thank you.
Thank
do
you.
Tremendous work.
Thank you, Luis.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 16.
I move to approve authorizing staff to apply to the Texas General Land Office for funding through the Local Hazard Mitigation Plans Program to fund a project to update the Aransas County Hazard Mitigation Action Plan.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Morning, sir.
Good morning. Any questions?
Is this going to include the H&H model?
This is not. This is for our hazard mitigation plan that we have to update periodically, and this is specifically to do an updated risk and hazard assessment.
Would the H&H modeling plan fit into this?
Not really, not directly, at least. The plan that is being updated is, our county plan that we had before Harvey that identified projects. The H&H modeling could identify some more projects to be on that plan, but what CAT is looking for is a risk assessment, which is part of the action plan. Does that make sense?
Not exactly.
I understand.
Thing that's available through that program is specific only to hazard mitigation plans. So that's why the project wouldn't include the H&H modeling.
Correct.
I can appreciate it. It seems that the modeling though might help us with identifying and providing for hazard mitigation.
Yes, absolutely, it will. Specifically, this grant is for, as Jen said, the hazard mitigation action plan, which part of that is doing a risk assessment. And that's what we're trying to get funded. We'll have to get a professional engineer or something in to do that assessment.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any further questions, discussion? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 17.
I move to approve the second amended project work plan for the Bay Shore Drive Shoreline Stabilization Project, which is funded by the grant award through Texas Commission of Environmental Quality as set forth in grant contract number 58221222184, which is funding that is made available through U.S. Department of Treasury.
I'll second that.
All right, Mr. Strothman, can you give us background?
Yes, this is a project that's been around for 8 years. We got an approval back in like 2018, and we got at least approval to move forward. The work plan has been in development and been working through this plan with TCEQ. And at this point in time, the project is once the work plan is approved, it's the only government agency that requires this. Is this work plan. This has been an extensive effort to get this thing approved. Once this plan is approved, then we move forward with RFP. And I have some easements to get acquired, and we move forward and stuff is submitted to Treasury for notice to proceed. But it's the shoreline restoration project along the shore of Bayshore Drive or Key Allegro area.
I have a couple of questions, but I'll be glad when this is actually done.
Yes.
Not just on page 9.
Mhm.
Under Reach 1, Groin
Mhm.
rehabilitation. It says that the permit is set to expire on December 31st, 2024. Is that going to be a problem for us?
No,
Okay, it's good to know. And then on page 12, where it has the milestone dates, some of those have passed. Are we still good?
yes,
Right? And then probably this is a small thing, but on page 22, I don't believe that your job title is correct, so I would recommend that be corrected.
okay,
And you said, once we approve this today, I hope, it goes to the Department of Treasury.
correct.
And then when will we do the bid notice?
We can proceed with the bid notice now,
Okay, so we send it on to Treasury, but we can still do the bid.
right?
notice.
The only thing we can't do until notice to proceed has been issued is we can select a contractor, but we can't award the contract until it's
Okay.
been approved.
John, you said that this, I'm sorry. You said that this has been in the works since 2018.
Correct.
Is that $2.4 million still a good working?
The project has been reduced in scope to meet the $2 million left in for construction.
Okay, thank you.
It's been in the works since 2015.
Well, we started down the road and
Okay.
we were selecting projects and putting things together, but I think submission was made
2018.
2018.
Any further questions?
Oh, actually,
comments?
we got approved 2018. We submitted them to restore, and then we got, this is the only project out of like 5 or 6 that were approved.
How was the scope of the project reduced?
What's that?
How was the scope of the project reduced? to meet
There's a
the-
couple of groins that are existing groins that were going to be rebuilt, that they're not going to be rebuilt under this grant, and the city of Rockport will find funds to do that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 18.
I move to approve entering into the interlocal cooperation agreement between counties and cities associated with Operation Lone Star for law enforcement services, which will enable the Aransas County Sheriff's Office to participate in joint operations with other participating agencies.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion or questions? All right, let's go and vote.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 19.
Move to approve the March 2023 indigent health care report.
I'll second.
Got a motion, got a second? Madam Treasurer, are you? Morning.
For the numbers, we're 7 months into the fiscal year and we've spent 2.4% of our gross revenue tax levy, which 8% is what we're budgeted to spend. We did have several big expenditures this month in a hospital, and one inmate medication was a specialized medication, so that number is a little bit high on prescriptions. Any questions?
So some of the inmates, we are reimbursed for their medical expenses and prescriptions. Is that correct?
Well, if they qualify for the indigent healthcare program, we pay for the medications at the rate, the Medicare rate.
So then we would not be reimbursed by anyone.
No, but
They would just
if
be
they do not qualify, or for whatever reason, the paperwork doesn't get done, then it's in the sheriff's budget, which the healthcare sales tax does reimburse.
Okay, thank you.
How about if we have federal prisoners or somebody else?
That's all paid for by the US Marshals, except for simple medical supplies and Band-Aids, that kind of stuff. Other than that, it's all goes through, it's billed to the federal.
How about other counties? Prisoners that we might have, like, I think we've had Nueces County prisoners.
And I'm invoicing their, whatever we have besides Dr. Bingham.
Okay, and those were the prisoners to whom I was referring, but
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
I,
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 20.
Move to approve the March 2023 monthly report.
I'll second it.
Got a motion? Got a second?
Sorry about that. The fee report separately, it was not included. It was not complete at the time that I did this. So if you have any questions on that, I did want to point out on the page that the non-departmental was way over budget. This has to do with the insurance, our insurance payment. Because we did it on the short so quick, I put it there. I have finally got everything separated out. So it will go down next time I do a report because I will be splitting it between the different departments that pay for the insurance. So it will be corrected for the April report.
that was one of my questions. Thank you for answering that. The other one, under interest, our actuals are much higher than our proposed, which is
Yes.
good. I'm glad. But the amount that it shows over or under is in parentheses, which implies it's under. Am I misreading that?
No, it's just it's a variance. So whenever you're over what your budgeted was, it will show it as a variance. It's not under, it's over, but it's.
I'm just curious about the parentheses that are around the dollar amount of the variance.
Right, that's the way our accounting does. Right. Well, if it was under, then you would still have an amount that was due because it's over, it's a parentheses because it's different than, it's hard to explain. But that's the way that it does because it's a variance and it's over what we would have, what we budgeted, then it shows it that way.
All right, and thank you for putting the collections information from the tax office on there. I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions, comments? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 21.
I move to approve Aransas County Airport's request to host an event called Warbirds over South Texas Memorial Day Fly-In to help educate the community about the historical importance of the airport to the coastal bend and to the United States during the Second World War.
Thanks.
Got a motion? Got a second? Mr. Gear?
Hey, good
Morning.
morning. And thank you for entertaining us on this. So I'm asking again for permission to host a fly-in. And this will be one that we actually buy a liability insurance policy for, which is what we've done in the past. I already have a commitment from for the roughly $1,000 to cover that through a donation. So the airport fund won't be out any money. This will all be money that we raise, or if we're approved on the next line item or item here, we'll be able to cover all of our expenses But some of you may know, this is the airport's 80th anniversary. The airport was built in response to the American war effort in World War II. And it was commissioned in 1942 to be built. And then in 43, it was actually built. We had our first landing. And the airport has served as a quasi auxiliary field for the Navy ever since. And so when you couple the airport's 80th anniversary with also the fact that the Lexington is celebrating its 80th anniversary, there's a tie-in that we'll get into in the next item if we're approved to proceed with the fly-in.
And the Airport Advisory Board. made
They
that
voted in favor,
recommendation.
yes, ma'am. Any further questions?
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 22. Thank you.
Move to approve allocating and approving the expenditures of hotel occupancy tax funds in the amount of $8,000 to be used by the Aransas County Airport to promote warbirds over South Texas Memorial Day flying-in event.
I'll second it.
Got a motion, got a second. Mr. Gear, Mr. Stewart.
So at this time, thank you again. I'd like to introduce a co-organizer, Cody Stewart, to give a presentation, but I'll also be available for questions afterward. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge. Thank you for your time and consideration. As Mr. Gear said, we are looking to host Warbirds over South Texas this Memorial Day weekend. I would like to just note that all the pictures in the slide is from our Coastal Bend holiday flying that we did in December. So this was actually a flight over the field that happened that Saturday. So as Mr. Gear said, we're celebrating 3 different things this weekend. First off is Memorial Day. We want to honor our servicemen and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And that's, really, really important to us. So we're honored that we're considered to have the event here in Aransas County. Second point is, as Mr. Gear said, it's the airport's 80th birthday. That's pretty impressive. We have one of the best airport facilities on the Coastal Bend, and it's because it was built to withstand the war effort and it's sustained itself for 80 years. Through a lot of other grants and other things, we have a very, very good facility here in Aransas County. The third point is the Lexington's 80th birthday. That's pretty special since we're going to be focusing this event around what we call warbirds. It's all decommissioned military aircraft from the World War II effort. We're going to hopefully have the bombers back, the fighters, the trainers, and the advanced trainers. So it's all going to be centered around World War II era aircraft. However, it's still flying. We'll still have all the other airplanes come in, but the highlight of the event will be the warbird aircraft. We're using this to promote education in Aransas County. This one is for the history of Aransas County. Our December event was the flight school, everything else. We're still doing that. The flight school is still going to be involved in this event, but we're going to highlight our historical presence in Aransas County. So as I mentioned earlier, we did have our previous event, Coastal Bend Holiday Fly-In. This was a huge stepping stone in the airport's effort to solidify what we have, what we can offer to both the public and the aviation community in terms of events. We had around 3,000 to 4,000 people. That is an estimate over the whole weekend of the event. The Saturday afternoon was where we had the most people on the airfield because that's when weather was good and everybody was flying and everybody could get in from Dallas and Austin and San Antonio. We had over 85 general aviation airplanes. What that is your typical Cessnas, Pipers, Moonies, Beechcraft, what you see day in, day out. We had 25 historical airplanes, which you can see kind of scattered. Those are the World War II. So we had a really good mix in December. And we did highlight the Young Eagles program for kids. We had over 50 free flights because we raised enough money. So everybody was involved in that effort. And we are looking to do that again in December. That has been a headlining event for the airport. But for Memorial Day weekend, why is this important? The biggest opportunity that has arisen through our connections with the airport in San Marcos is they've always hosted the Go Wheels Up Memorial Day Air Show. They had to cancel, unfortunately. I don't know why. But for the foreseeable future, I don't know what happened, but they canceled. They contacted us and said, hey, are y'all interested in picking up the pieces and having an event in Rockport? And that's why we're kind of on a short time frame, because this opportunity arose so quickly. What we believe will be the attraction for our event is it's summer kickoff weekend. Schools are out, everybody's coming to the beach, and everybody from San Marcos has nothing else to do there because their air show got canceled. So we're expecting to have a very high pedestrian traffic for this event, both from our advertising campaigns to bring people in, but people that are already in the community because it is Memorial Day weekend. And we are going to do a World War II Warbird Parade over the Lexington to celebrate their birthday and Memorial Day. So we are going to be highlighting mass crowds because that parade will hit Rockport Beach, the marina downtown. It will hit North Beach, the Lexington, the aquarium, Ocean Drive, possibly the Port Aransas Beach, and then we'll land back in Rockport. So if you look to the skies Saturday and see a parade of 20+ airplanes and say, what is that? You can get on social media and say, hey, we better go to Rockport because they're having an event. Also, we are partnering with our 501c3, which is Airplanes and Coffee, based out of Dallas, Fort Worth. They have over 158,000 followers on Facebook on the aviation community. They are handling all of our funds. So everybody gets who sponsors or donates to the event, they do get 501c3 treatment. We did do that in December. So they are coming back. Typically, historically, weather's better in May for Houston and Dallas Fort Worth. So we're expecting a large influx of airplanes from the general aviation community based on the sponsorship. We would have had a lot more in December because they were our sponsors, but we had a thick band of weather between Austin and Dallas Fort Worth that kept probably 150 airplanes at bay that would have been in Rockport that weekend. So a lot of our advertising campaigns will be in the Dallas Fort Worth area to get those airplanes down here, because you can travel a lot further in an airplane than you do in car. And then we are stretching our pedestrian campaigns to the Austin San Marcos area to get those people down here if they were planning on going to the air show. The reason we're asking for hot funds is because the airport was built for the war effort in World War II. They do have the historical placard. It is a really cool piece of history we have here in Aransas County. So if you haven't read that historical marker, I encourage you to. It's by the front doors at the FBO. Any questions?
Will you have any active duty planes come in?
We are working right now with the Navy and Coast Guard to see if they would bring some displays down. So that's TBD. And as of right now, I think Coast Guard Auxiliary will have recruiting in a tent in the hangar as of right now. So
one of the things that I'm encouraged listening to you speak about this is, I know when we look at the results for the Center for the Arts or for Maritime, maybe even for the Fulton Mansion, Dallas is an area that typically has less than 1% of visitors coming to this area for any of the events we have going on. And the fact that Airplanes and Coffee is from that area, and they certainly would have their supporters. And then more people coming from the Austin, San Marcos area. We really get a lot of traffic from San Antonio and Houston already, but those other two cities and their metropolitan areas kind of go begging. And this would be a way to open up new people coming to our community. And I know Mike has some smaller events where he can help sell out at least one of the hotels and certainly stock one of the restaurants with meal goers for a weekend. So this would be a big help.
And this is just estimates from December because a lot of people flew in from out of town. When we came back Sunday, both lots were full of airplanes still. So they spent the night somewhere somehow. So our event is free parking, free entry, just to encourage more participants, especially families, to come in. We are brainstorming ideas to have at the gate where you would typically have an admissions table to pay, is to get in, even though it's free, is to fill out a survey to say, you know, what zip code are you from, you know, what hotel you're staying in and how many nights.
Yeah, the 3 questions that Luis just said that his folks asked, that would be a very good thing to have at that
And so
table.
to get in, you would have to fill out those questions. So you don't have to pay anything, but you still have to fill out a form. It'd be anonymous, but we'll at least be able to capture data on where people are from. And then likewise, whether that be at the fuel counters elsewhere, we can capture the same thing. Where's the airplane coming from zip code wise?
All right. Any further questions? This
Yeah,
concludes.
I have one procedural question.
Yes, sir.
Forgive me for not knowing this, but do we have an organization among the folks in Aransas County that put on presentations so that we're not conflicting with others, or we're merging with others to get more people in down here, like, you know, is somebody flying and then go to the art museum or go to the maritime museum or go down to the beach or something. You know, that a lot of stuff's normal, but a lot of people coming in from Dallas, Fort Worth and other areas may not know what we've done. And I think it'd be good if everybody got through the chamber or whatever, however you want to do it, and just did an events committee. And so everybody knows what somebody's doing a year in advance, or 3 months in advance, or 5 months in advance. So they can, if it's something that would play to their venue, that they could take advantage of it and not miss it. And the holidays and stuff, it's pretty much, you know, done. But you know, sometimes off times that Mike and other people plan things, it would be good to get that across the board. I know the chamber does a good job of doing that, but you know, especially thing like the events that coordinator, like events coordination or something like that.
I think that's a great idea. I think we are going to share a lot of the same people. I think whenever the beach gets buzzed by a P-51 and a 12-year-old kid looks up and say, "Dad, where did that come from?" And they look on social media and say they're having a free event at the airport, gives them something else other than the beach to do in Rockport. So I think we will be sharing a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Hi, passes 5-0. Item number 23.
I move to approve budget line item transfer.
I'll second that.
All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. Item number 24.
I move to approve accounts payable and payroll liabilities.
I'll second that.
And motion, get a second.
Jackie?
Yes, we have several that I wanted to point out. We have Lloyd Goslink that we have paid 2 invoices for a total of $25,942. Another one that's kind of different was Belt Harris, and that's our auditors. And we paid our first milestone with them. They've done a lot of their field work already. We have Mott McDonald for a Cedar
What was
Pine.
that payment, Jackie?
I'm sorry, it was $13,125. Then the majority of the rest of them that are different are our reimbursables. We've got Mott McDonald for Cedar Bio of $10,754. PGAL, the architects for the courthouse of $11,401.23. And G&W Engineers, which are doing the generators for the Tatum grant, we've paid them $7,452. We also have Mott McDonald that we paid $69,397.55. That was for our 5 road projects through the GLO grant. And KC lease was $291,080.01. That is 2 invoices for the Copano Heights Street project. PGAL, also the architects for the Celebration Plaza, was $28,951.20. And DLF 2, which are the contractors for the Celebration Plaza, of $76,171.71. Grant connection for Bayshore Drive of $4,700. And then we had EDOC that we paid on the district clerk files that are being codified or digitized of $119,047.40. And Teal Construction of $730,038.49. And just wanted to remind y'all, these are all reimbursables. So one level or another, some of them 100%, most of them 100%, some of them are 75%, 80%, but they are the majority of it being reimbursed.
Is that payment to EDOT ARPA money?
Yes, ma'am, it
Okay.
is.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions or comments? All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes 5-0. At this time, we'll hear reports from commissioners, elected officials, and department heads, and no action will be taken.
Here we go.
All right,
Now
got
we
Ms.
go.
L.
Now we go.
Morales.
New
meat.
me.
Yep.
Morning.
I'm hoping that everybody has seen this flyer around town. It's about the tire roundup this weekend. It's going to be on April 15th. It's from 9 to 1. It's going to be at the old city hall, so 622 East Market. The trailer is being reimbursed by Coastal Bend Council of Governments, so we'd like to make sure that we get it all filled up with any tires, passenger tires, small truck tires, no rims, and we don't take any tractor or large commercial. So whatever's out there, our guys are out there, and Road and Bridge is helping us by looking for tires alongside the road. So if you know of any, just call the office, let us know. We'll pick them up.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
We got Miss Lori Caesar coming.
Good morning. Since it's been such a challenging 2 weeks, I forgot that this week starts National Animal Control Officer Appreciation. So if you happen to see Officer Cross or Officer Frazier, just give them a pat on the back because they do a tremendous job for you all and for this county. The Coastal Bend grant, I also had an update. They have done 70 animals so far. And we updated our streets to North Terry, North and South Hood, and Johnson Road. So I would strongly encourage those residents to take advantage of this. We did go several before some of my officers decided to resign. They did go door to door and hit Hood and Terry. I think we still have Johnson to do, but I just don't have the manpower right now. So if you're needing some flyers, we have them available. And
Lori, could you put one of those flyers in our box, our mailbox?
yes, I can. Yes, I
Thank you.
can. And I think that is all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. David, you got anything? You good? All right. All right.
You don't have anything bad, do you?
All right, we'll move on to section 12, reports about items of community interest. No action will be taken. Going once, going twice. All right.
Hold on,
Judge?
if anybody
Oh.
saw some pictures on Facebook of the
Oh.
Easter egg hunt they had at the Fulton Mansion, I wasn't there, but the pictures were unbelievable. I don't know. It looked like hundreds of kids there.
There were a lot of people in Rockport on Easter Sunday. All the churches were full and the restaurants were full, and there was a lot of stuff going on.
All right, let's move on to item.
Judge
number-
Garza,
Yes, ma'am.
can we just remind everyone again about the communication tower and I guess ribbon cutting and dedication ceremony on the 13th? It'll be the Willard Cox Emergency Communication Tower dedication. And if anybody wants more information, they can contact Judge Garza's office.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I think, what time is that at, John? It's at 11. Commissioner Soji, you have something? Oh. Oh, okay, I'm number 25, sorry.
I move to consider convening into a closed session to consult with counsel and receive legal advice about insurance matters related to Aransas County's projects and insurance claims from Hurricane Harvey, including the following pending litigation. A, Aransas County, Texas versus Endurance American Specialty Insurance Company et al., Aransas County District Court, cause number 23-0021. And B, North Star Recovery Services, Inc. versus Aransas County Independent School District and Aransas County. Aransas County District Court, cause number 23-0066. And C, Aransas County versus Kathleen Hicks in her official capacity as Director of the Regional Pool Alliance, Aransas County District Court, cause number 23-0069, pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meetings Act, which authorizes closed sessions for a governmental body to consult with its attorneys regarding advice on legal matters pertaining to pending or contemplated litigation or a settlement offer, or on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Open Meetings Act.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All righty. Madam County Clerk.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Passes 5-0. We'll take a 5-minute recess and reconvene into closed session.
Uh-oh.
I move that we reconvene into open session.
Second,
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Item number 27, we're not going to take any action on. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. That is it. Thank you so much.
Just stick around and sign.
Stick around the time, got a lot of stuff.